This is Pastor Kathy, and I'm YouTubing you because I want to spend time with you today. Do you find yourself asking, why am I so stressed out? Maybe you're a college student trying to finish up studies, or you're just working so much that you always feel tired. But I assume that you're with me today because you could relate to the title, I'm so stressed out. Well, I wanted to ask you a question about your own life. When you think about it, what are your attitudes, maybe some of your disciplines, or maybe even your lifestyle that brings out the best in you? And have you ever taken the time to think about it? I think it's an important place for us to start today. And I want you to do some self-reflection and use a scale between 1 and 10 to kind of measure your own personal health right now, especially in relationship to stress. When you look at your physical health, how would you rate yourself from 1 to 10? Do you get out and exercise or just do something for fun? When you take a look at your emotional health, how are you feeling about relationships that are in your life right now? Do they bring positive energy into your life? And when you take a look and rate your intellectual health, how are your studies going? Do you do things to stimulate yourself intellectually? Or are you kind of in the humdrum of life where every day is about the same with nothing new and creative in it? I want to even challenge you today to take a look at your spiritual health, which is just as important as any of the other areas. Do you put any of the spiritual disciplines into your life, or even have a curiosity or an exploration in that area for your life? And I would encourage you to do that. Well, today I wanted to use Jesus as an example in the area of self-care, because I think especially in our culture today, self-care is so important, and especially for young people who are so busy at a busy time in your life. So if you take a look at the New Testament, we see that Jesus had a demanding lifestyle. People sought him out for healing, for meeting their needs, spiritual and physical. And I have a feeling it was a 24/7 job. And at the same time, if you think about it, Jesus really didn't have his own home to retreat to for rest and relaxation. So what he chose to do is actually to withdraw from the people. And he did this several times. The scripture tells us he withdrew to the sea. When is the last time you've withdrawn from your lifestyle, your life, just to have rest and relaxation around water? Whether it's a lake or going to the ocean or planning a trip on a boat. And even if you don't have much money, you could hop in a car and go to the nearest lake or river and just have a day of enjoyment for yourself. The scripture also tells us that Jesus withdrew to the mountains. I would like to ask you, when's the last time that you've gone to the mountains just to be close to nature, to have a quiet environment, and have a time of just reflection and renewing your spirit? The wilderness was also another place that Jesus went to, which sounds kind of like a strange place for us to go because it's such a dry, hot place. But I think the metaphor here is to explore maybe the wilderness of your life. Perhaps the busyness in your life or relationships in your life have kind of created a type of wilderness for you. And just explore how you have control over that in your life and what positive changes you could make. So I think Jesus gives us a great example of withdrawing and that being okay in order to renew our spirit, to have the energy to do what life is asking us to do. I wanted to put a statement to you for you to think about and see if maybe you agree with this statement or don't agree with that statement, and that's fine. It's from a book that I've been reading recently, and it says, wholeness should never be seen as perfection, but rather an acknowledgement and acceptance of weakness. I think maybe that sounds strange to our ears, especially with expectations put on us. But the Bible actually supports this idea. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, it says, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." I just want to remind you and encourage you today that if you are in a place of being stressed out, of feeling weak in areas where you used to feel strong, just know that Christ can meet you in that place of weakness, and God's power can rest in you and renew your spirit. I wanted to look real quickly at some ways for you to assess your stress level and just put a check mark in your mind of the ones that pertain to you and see where you are in these areas. The first one, I feel unable to process and it's hard to retain information. I feel like I'm on data overload. I'm unable to consider all of my options in my situation, and I feel that there is only a few ways out. I may not want to admit it, but I revert to childlike behavior patterns when I'm stressed. I admit that I've acted this way in the past month. I have a hard time saying no to people. Fatigue plays a big part in my life. Change of any kind, good or bad, involves loss. I've experienced a lot of change lately, which means I've also experienced a lot of loss in my life. At this time in my life, I'm showing signs of physical illness. Of the 4 areas we talked about in the beginning, you need to understand that they are all connected. If you're not doing well in your physical life, that is going to affect your mental life. If you're not doing well in your mental health, it's going to affect your spiritual health. I think they're connected on a certain level, and just to be aware of that. Some intentional strategies, though, I want to challenge you to put into your life this week to kind of decrease the stress is to find something to celebrate about you, something that you really like about yourself, and be willing to go there. The other thing is to put playtime into your week, tapping into your inner child, and think about maybe the activities you really enjoyed when you were very young. Did you really like playing with Play-Doh or blowing bubbles or playing jacks? Maybe Saturday mornings you spend in your pajamas watching cartoons and eating a bowl of cereal. Or it would be fun to gather some of your buddies and just grab squirt guns and have a squirt gun battle. Or when's the last time you've even considered having a pillow fight? We all need ways of getting rid of stress, and these are wonderful ideas. But another gift you can give to yourself is to take yourself out of your role. If you are a student right now, you have to make time where you are not doing work, or you're not doing things that are required of your school. Do something outside of that. And if you're working and working really hard, You need to create time outside of your workspace where you can do something that really brings you joy. Be alert to times in your life where there's change, because during those times you require more rest. Give yourself permission to rest more, because that is good self-care. Change your environment. Put positive energy, places, and people into your life. And last, I would say, experience grace by being grateful in your life. Being thankful for things and not taking them for granted. And I would just like to end by saying, I want to thank you for spending time with me today.